Hello and welcome to Worldwide People's Championships. We're in week 33, and this is going to be the final for O2000. Of course, Lucian never lost. He just left on vacation, but when he comes back, he'll still probably have a nice final between whoever is the champion at that point and Lucian. So the next few weeks should be interesting in the O2000. Here we got Petric, Cybern. Very good player. You can see the ratings on these. These are the global ratings. Both quite high. And Vortex. Vortex, of course, has been the challenger over and over. Lost to Lucian at least 3-4 times. But in this one, he'll actually have a chance, hopefully. And playing UEF, which is a bit strange here in Vortex. Really a proponent of really just the bomber from Seraphim. That's what he's extremely good with. Of course, he does have a channel, Cerberus. People should check that out if they haven't. And likely he'll actually have all these final games from his point of view uploaded, hopefully. So far, it looks like pretty standard play. Second air from Petric, whole bunch of land. Got to get that Hydro quick. And here, this is going to be interesting. 2 engineers at the Hydro. And a very quick hunter from Petric. And a bit of micro there, but it doesn't look like that hunter is going to be successful. Did some damage, but killed nothing, so really good defense from Vortex. Perfect timing on those tanks. Good aggression from Petric, but not much more than just a little bit of concentration from Vortex. See, the Hydra's not going to be finished. Looks like Vortex a little faster, but not a big difference in both players playing a whole bunch of Tech 1 land. One of the questions, of course, on Palms is where is the ACU going to go? And it looks like Vortex does the unusual, goes to the left. From the top, you usually see players going to the left. From the bottom to the right. And the ACUs are going to be on the same side, which will be a bit unusual on this map, but should be interesting. And in this situation, the UEF ACU has the most health, of course. Has gun and tech 2 at the same time, which is a good option. But Cybern early on might be a little better with that stealth upgrade. Can be quite good. And of course now with a higher regen, the base level regen for Cybern. But UEF still with veterancy. Veterancy affects UEF a little better. A little more health, total health. And of course that regen increase will make the difference between Cybern and UEF less and less. And some nice bombing. Vortex showed that UEF bombers can almost do the job. They can drop the bomb, but they can't actually kill anything. Well, there is a kill for UEF bomber. If this was Seraphim bomber there, Vortex, this game may be over. But as it is, it's very quite even in terms of the eco. And in terms of expansion denial, much better job from Vortex. Vortex together with the tanks. 3 tanks together with the bomber. It's really a great combination. Nice scouting from the bomber, and then these tanks can make the correct decision. On the other side, though, a nice raid. Mantis slips by an ACU is going to deny a couple of mask extractors. Very important there from Petric. And both ACUs go into these 4 mask extractors. Going to try to get them instead of just rushing up. One big mistake some noobs make is just running past this area with the ACU into enemy base. Don't want to forget these 4 mask extractors, because actually each one of these expansions is as big as your starting position in terms of mask extractors. So losing or denying an expansion on open palms is really the name of the game. And here on the bottom, will this Mantis arrive? Doesn't look like. A bit of a lost opportunity there from Petric. Maybe a little micro could have helped them out. It would have been a very valuable. Mantis looks like this engineer is trying to run away for a little while. And here, after 6 minutes, a few more mask extractors for Vortex. You can see the difference there. Actually quite significant at that point. About 9 mass, so about 4 or 5 mask extractors. And it's really these mask extractors in the corner from Petric pawns. Point defense to the land factory, and likely after this, Vortex will move out with the ACU, put some pressure. Petric also not on the move, deciding not to put a point defense in this position. And up on top, the battle continues where Vortex continues to have the advantage. So map control is slightly shifting in Vortex's favor. Vortex taking a little bit of while to get those back mass extractors, and that was that run by with the Mantis from Petric. And in terms of air, besides this bombing from Vortex, Petric has been very quiet, and of course with air dominance you should be able to get these side plateaus. And here's the transport from Vortex. I really like to watch this game from this far out. Just a bunch of dots. I mean, we all know what this looks like. But staring at this, you miss a whole bunch. This way you don't miss anything but the animations. And let's see, it looks like a wall here from Petric, so he realizes this is quite weak. He's not going to invest with 250 mass to the point defense. Instead, he'll build the walls, I believe, 2 mass per wall segment. So you can really make a whole bunch. Pretty even numbers finally up on the top. And it looks like a transport that has been scouted. This could be dangerous if Vortex noticed. And it looks like this bottom plateau is going to belong to Vortex. And it looks like interceptors have been scrambled here. See the move order to intercept. Move order into patrol order. Actually here, just the move order right underneath the... Yeah, a bit of a lost opportunity. I think this could have been a successful shoot down if Vortex gave move orders right under that transport and get really a lot of shots in as the interceptors slow down. It looks like once again attack with the strikers. And a victory for Vortex up on top. And it looks like a big push now from Vortex. He's going to close off. He'll prevent the building of the wall if he continues to move forward. A couple of point defenses. Looks like 2 point defenses will be finished. So a bit of artillery there from Vortex will really help. 2 ACUs just sort of staring at each other across this battlefield. Haven't really done much except that push on the side from Vortex. Alright, I forgot the controls for this game. That's probably why I'm not good anymore. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Start pushing buttons. Something good is gonna happen. Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to reset. It looks like successful drop here for Petric and counter drop from Vortex. We might see a bit of a battle. Definitely a big advantage from Petric though. And on the bottom here, looks like successful defense plus a couple nice engineers in the attack move. Going to clean up that wreckage very quickly. The ACUs so far just hanging out, doing nothing. 1 kill, 0 kills. Both players now are willing to take too many hard chances, dangerous chances. Strikers dropped off and not much happening. Looks like now this is switched artillery from Petric. And a bit surprising, I think Cybern early on do have an advantage with this land. Much faster manti on this map. The speed is so important on open palms. And another point defense. Looks like not noticed. This is very disappointing from Vortex. Yeah, a bit of a waste. A couple more reclaims available now for Petric. And Petric with a big push. And I think once he finally secures this area, he'll be in pretty good shape. One thing to look at, of course, is if we have any upgrades. Only 1,300 reclaim from Vortex. That's a very low number at this stage. See, there's only 1 Tech 2 mass extractor from Vortex, so he's really put a lot into his armies. Not much upgrading at all. Petric, see, nearly 5,000 reclaim, much more from Petric. And then in terms of Tech 2 mass extractors, I imagine he probably has a couple more. Nope, still just at 1. So both players are really putting a lot into this Tech 1 land spam. Although after 12 minutes is actually not that impressive. Quite a bit of mass into the point defenses from Petric. Vortex also investing in those. It looks like he's finally getting an upgrade, and this is on the left side, so that's Tech 2. Another way to tell is to look and see that it's negative 180, and that's the lower number for these upgrades, which means it is the Tech 2. And here it is a standoff, neither player really willing to push, perhaps something from Vortex. And this is where it becomes very important how many numbers you have and from which angle you attack. If you attack head on here versus to the side, very big difference. And you can see Petric trying to combine all of his units into a pretty tight clump. That's the thing to do against tanks, and this is the correct micro from Vortex. He's flanking, but I think he does not have the numbers, so perhaps a mistake. He didn't anticipate all those reinforcements from Petric. Now it's really got to retreat. And some Tech 2 here though. From Vortex, I missed this. Where did the Tech 2 come from? Right here. So we're seeing a whole bunch of pillars on the field. Pillar, really good tank. You get huge amounts of health per mass you invest. It's same level as some Tech 3 units. I believe it's actually 7 health per unit of mass. Something along those lines, doesn't matter. It looks like now a push from Petric. He's pushing into a bunch of Tech 2, and if these pillars don't move, they're going to get hit by Medusas, which is never a good thing. See, the thing about Medusas, if they hit a unit, that unit stops and stops shooting, which is actually quite powerful. And you can see there's a lot of missed opportunities there for that tank. And now the map control is dead even. We're at that stage where it's absolutely even more power for Petric, actually even a little more mass. So Petric, even though he had those problems early in the game, now in very good shape. I think that reclaim really kept him in it. There's a bit of problems here. He's losing a couple of mass structures, but really insignificant, and looks like a victory now from Vortex. The pillars, these Tech 2s, got a big advantage. So we've seen the recovery of map control, but Vortex has built up a significant Tech 2 force on the right side. We're also seeing some Tech 2, some Tech 2 power from Petric. This is where he's got that power advantage, and going with Rhinos instead of the Wagners. It's an interesting choice. Of course, this is balance testing, so I think the Rhinos have been buffed slightly. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and people have been playing balance testing. I'm not really sure when that's going to become official. And of course, that also means that going to Tech 2, oh, Tech 3. Okay, so Vortex skips Tech 2 very quickly. He's now sitting at 3. Tech 2 mass structure, still not a huge eco. But he's really going with the tech, and a Rhino rolling through the middle. 6 kills, nearly full health. Yeah, well, that was against Tech 1, really not much of a fight. Meanwhile, the pillar is getting some success, but point defenses doing the work. This large force can get in behind, maybe take out that point defense. Deny a whole bunch. Neither player going for hoplites or mongoose. They do not want a micro, it seems. A little more dangerous. And a Tech 2 ACU. He's going to get a nice defensive position. Prevent any kind of pushes from Petric. So, very much a standoff here on the bottom. Meanwhile, all the fighting has gone on the top, and Vortex really has had the advantage the entire game. Still with the eco though, Petric very much staying with him. If not doing better. See, it looks like the Titans are the choice. It's a good choice against Tech 2, very quick. Actually, looking at the stats, we all know the Loyalist a much better unit than the Titan, but the difference is actually just in the range. If the Titan and the Loyalist had the same range, I think the Titan would actually be better. This is why we see the Rhinos. Let's see if they can hold their own against Tech 3. So far they've been quite impressive. Very solid tank, and here they're going to go up against Tech 2. Of course, one of the things about them, they don't miss, so much more difficult to micro against. And so far they've been quite impressive. There have also been some Tech 1 point defenses in here against that Tech 3 push. Good defense from Petric, and a lot of reclaim now from Petric. And he's actually in a very good position. At the Tech 3 stage, GEF versus Cybern, you can't say that Cybern are in very bad shape until very late, but that's when Cybern, of course, can go with spiders. The bricks are extremely powerful. And of course they are a little faster than the Perseus, and that could be huge on this map. I really think the stealth brick is nearly a game ender here, especially when the battle is just through one flank. Early on, the Aeon of course do have an advantage, but in this UEF versus Cybern, actually it's a very even matchup. I don't think one faction really has a huge advantage. Of course those Perseus, they're just in those, if you find your bricks running into a bunch of Perseus and it's even numbers, the bricks do die. Oh, this is interesting. Tech 2, and that's one of the things about balance mod. Of course those Tech 2 factories become much more accessible once you get Tech 2, and just for 300 mass you can get that auxiliary factory instead of the usual 800. Of course you still need the HQ. This is the HQ. This is the one where you pay the full price, and here come the bricks. And these Titans, the longer they wait, the worse they're gonna get. It looks like perhaps a Tech 2 attack here from the back, and Titans waited for the brick to come out. They're gonna attack now, and this brick is gonna deny. This is not gonna be good for Vortex. There's some Tech 2, although some of these Titans getting quite deep. You're gonna target the power. This should even up the power game. You take out a single Tech 3, you take the power generator. How about the other? These bricks not killing fast enough. I think there are some significant losses here from Petrich, but he's still in good shape. He is trying to rebuild his power, although with the air game being quite minimal here. Oh, it looks like a successful drop from Vortex up on that top plateau. That's something I missed. And this attack has actually been quite impressive. These bricks did not kill fast enough, and Petrich all the way down to 600 power. He needs to rebuild this very quick. It wasn't that big a deal losing this first one, but losing the second, I think maybe the bricks ran away a little too far if they would have stayed home. And here yet another push from Petrich, and this is where Vortex went to Tech 3 a little earlier, and these Titans really overwhelming. Oh, this is not looking too good. Petrich getting pushed off his position. Yeah, this game looked a lot closer a few minutes ago. Vortex investing much more heavily into Tech 3, and Tech 1 land and takes game 1. So we're off to game 2. Let's see if Petrich can even this out. Hello and welcome to game 2 between Petrich and Vortex. This is one game up for Vor. This one, they're both going Seraphim, and a whole bunch of air factories from Vortex. It looks like no mass extractors. He's going to rely on these NGs to come out, grab this early reclaim to keep his eco from stalling. It's a good way to maximize your power, given that the ACU walks a bit slow, so you maximize the build capacity by having it not move. Petrich going first, land second, air, something a little more standard. Looks like it's going to be a total of 8 P-gens, so a little more than the minimum. And on this map, really power becomes so critical. Usually you have 2-3 engineers just spamming, because if you lose air on this map, you're pretty much done until late Navy, where you have a whole bunch of cruisers. So I expect to see a big air battle, and whoever wins that is likely going to win the game. And I have not seen these, so I can't. I might be absolutely wrong, so perhaps the floating arty will do the trick in this one. Or early naval rush, or an ACU drop. Things of that nature happen all the time. Looks like Vortex forced to pause a bit. Maybe overdid. No, it looks like he's got a bit of mass. The eco looks fine. Actually, in terms of ecos, they look dead even. And you should never have even numbers up there. Like till later on with the mass storage and upgrades, things like that. So let's see what comes out from this air factory from Petrich. Cutting out these expanding engineers, it's something you can do right away with a couple bombers. And given these players are both Seraphim and good with bombers, I do expect that to happen. But of course, anytime you build air units instead of engineers from these factories, your power does take a hit. And this is where any advantage is here, which means more air units. And here comes a scout from Petrich. It's going to go directly, and there's a scout from Vortex. You can see Petrich just a bit faster. Looks like now a single engineer. And a transport. That transport, he's likely going to get spotted. And we're seeing no transports yet from Vortex, but a Navy plant from Vor. And now this is where this is scout is at the perfect time. If he sees the direction, I'm not sure if he saw the direction. And if he did, yeah, we do see these interceptors en route, but it doesn't look like they're going to get there in time. Should be a successful drop. And this is where a bomber would be nice, following up from Vortex to take out these freshly dropped engineers. ECUs, you can see going in this clockwise direction. Not going to bother with the engineers, and here come the bombers. And Vortex doing the correct thing. Oh, this is interesting. Looks like Petrich is going to win this battle. 3 versus 2. These engineers look pretty safe, but this transport is going to challenge for the top island. Might be difficult with that ACU moving in that position, but you never know. And actually, yeah, Vortex putting up a pretty good fight. Only 1 interceptor left. Bombers changed their approach. And now we can see the power dead even from these two players. We do see some upgrading, and that is possible given all that reclaim. You can see Vortex so far 2000. That's exactly the mass you need for 2 Tech 2 mass upgrades, but a bit of power problems. Speed this up a little bit. It looks like that transport successful drop. This is really good actually from Petrich. If this was an engineer coming in, these NGs get a factory going, some radar, but instead it's going to be an ACU, and that's going to make things a little more difficult from Petrich. Of course, this will buy him a little bit of time. The War is just going to walk across. He realizes there's something here. See if this point defense is successful. Nope, he just has to just start building. The ACU for Petrich is just going to get a factory. And this could be significant. This could be a significant map control advantage. And actually here, it appears the bombers from Petrich have denied this engineer, or this engineer trying to be inconspicuous. And this drop forced back. So far we're seeing Petrich just dominating. Power game is very even, and in terms of Navy, a little earlier from Vor. And here's actually a drop from Petrich. Petrich going for all 5 islands. Almost all. And the drop is first. This drop still... Oh, this bomber here. It's very critical for that bomber to take out these engineers. I don't think War will have any chance if he loses all these. Oh, that bomber did not get the order. Tech 2 Navy now from Vor. So he is... doing some desperate moves here, I think, with the significantly inferior eco. Although, maybe I shouldn't say that. We see a lot less upgrading from Vor. But eventually, with all the reclaim, once you get establish a base on these, you get so much reclaim from trees and rocks. And when you have to worry about fighting on these others, and your other expansions, actually Vortex, they're losing. Some of those new animations is still kind of... That's what I'm going to blame for the fact that I suck at this game now. It's the new animations. It's just so weird for me. Yeah, even though I play it all zoom out still. Still does look really cool. So for people who haven't seen this game since like 2008, 2007, or even later, it did get a bit of an upgrade in terms of how it looks. It still looks better than any other RTS out there, in my opinion, which is also fact, but not everybody realizes that, of course. Tech 2 Navy is out, some destroyers, and then actually just straight up destroyers. So Vortex, he's going to try to get across, and these navies are going to have to start doing damage. And actually, Vor leaving the island here, and that means that Petric is probably going to have control. Yeah, but this map is much more blue than yellow. It's funny, this is the Ukrainian flag. Of course, Petric is from Ukraine. I'm not sure if that helps. What does help, though, is that he is going to kill off the yellow here shortly. In terms of Navy, he is going Tech 2 here. He's got to get either Tech 2 Air or a whole bunch of Tech 1 Navy to counter these destroyers, and now multiple destroyers. If there's any hope for Vortex, this is it right here. There's also his upgrade. And if he gets his entire base here to Tech 2, he gets a very big Tech 2 Navy and takes the island quickly. For example, this one with the ACU. Although so far it's just really been bad for Vortex. And here's a destroyer. It's going to be taking on submarines. I'm not really sure why it's going back. But as soon as Petric gets a destroyer here, I think this will be game over for Vortex. Although Petric just with a Tech 2 engineer and retreating. He's retreating to his friend there. And you can see 6 kills. Really didn't lose much health. Meanwhile, Vortex putting up a fight, 20 kills on the ACU. And now a whole bunch of bombers. Of course, this floating arty also denying these side mask extractors. And a massive drop coming in. I think it has been spotted though. This needs to be shut down, otherwise things are really bad for Vortex. And I'm assuming this drop is going to, yep, it's going to go directly at the naval production. And if this drop takes out the naval production, so really turn the game. These destroyers, I think, a bit lost. They need to go directly against it. Tech 2 torpedo launcher, of course, not long enough range to do anything against the destroyer if it's microed. And these destroyers need to kill that as soon as possible. And here the drop is successful. I can't believe this was spotted across the map. But bombers from Vortex coming in. They do take out the Tech 1 Navy. It'll be much more difficult to take out the Tech 2 factory, also destroyer in position. And will they kill this factory before the Tech 2 is produced? And I think they will, actually. This will be a success from Vortex. Vortex, no map control, but Tech 2 Navy. The thing that Petric, of course, can do is, given that he's got units everywhere, he can go ahead and build a Tech 2 Navy somewhere else. So where are these destroyers going to go? The Air Force has been quite nice from Vortex. He is way behind on power, which means the Air Force probably not going to last too long. And I expect cruisers here very quickly. So if there is an air fight, it'll be a big advantage for Vortex. Without cruisers, those destroyers are a bit vulnerable. Although now they are going to go after Petric's ACU. And actually, this is where we see all those scouts. So Vortex knows exactly what's going on. Looks like he's going to go after this ACU. And this Tech 2 power is a good choice. Need to kill that shield. Shield goes down. And, oh wow. So this is probably one of my problems. I don't realize just how much of an advantage this is. I think if you just go after the ACU, some torpedo bombers and Seraphim torpedo bombers are not an answer to any problem ever. They're just sort of there to make you feel like you still have a chance, even though you don't. And this is going to be a loss from Petric. He is surrounded by a Tech 2 Navy, and of course the water map losing Tech 2 Navy is really bad. Although back at base here, Petric threatening with a floating arty. And I think Vor is actually going to lose his entire base, except he's still going to heavy up and he just wins. So Vor, a desperate move with a Tech 2 Navy, which pays off. I think Petric here was a little quicker, but a little more build capacity. Could have easily stayed in the water, but he didn't. So this is now 2 up for Vortex. A bit disappointing from Petric. Hello, welcome to Game 3 between Petric and Vortex. Of course, Vortex 2 games up, but very disappointing in the last one. I think Petric had it, but Vortex, extremely good Tech 2 Navy, but of course Tech 2 Navy on this map is not going to help. And this one, once again, we're seeing Vortex going with his Seraphim. Do expect pretty early air from him. I'm not really sure if It'll be second or third, first land. And Petrich with Cybern, I think with Cybern. Actually, air is very good as well with the gesture, but don't expect it too early. So second air here would be, I think, surprising for Cybern. Actually, third air is quite standard on this map. So that would be my prediction. But very heavy on power here from Petrich, given that you got to walk on Theta. Usually a single pigeon is the way to go. But with two pigeons, you're in good shape if you want to go early air. And that's one of those things about scouting in this game. If you're playing against players who realize those things, or if your realizations are correct, then you can spot those and predict what the build order is going to be. It looks like it will be. Where's that engineer with the order? It appears it'll be fourth air. A total of 6 land factories from Vortex. And successful kill, therefore Petrich moves in with a hunter and a scout. The hunter will retreat. A couple Selines running through. And the thing about Selines on this map, if they block the mass extractors, they're extremely powerful. Especially if you don't notice. Something you always want to think of when you're playing against Seraphim, especially on this map, because expansions are so critical. Petrich, no air planned yet. Looks like a total of 6 land factories as well. Bit of manual reclaim. Now this hunter is going to hold. Actually, he's going to go on an attack. See if there's engineers moving down. Single engineer to the top, ACU to the middle. And otherwise we just got a couple of NGs doing reclamation. A single engineer on the land spam, which is a bit disappointing, I think, from Vortex. And also a single engineer on land spam as well from Petrich. And significant force. 3 tanks versus 3 tanks. Will the Celine make the difference? And see, whoever gets the first shot there. Actually, extremely even fight. This engineer might be in a bit of trouble. A bit of micro there from Petrich. Dodged a lot of shots, but a little too much health, plus the Celine really helping. Killing the Celine at first would have been nice. It looks like a victory from Vortex on the top, and that's going to be significant. This engineer is going to die. More Manti coming in, so this could still be quite even. Meanwhile, this hunter takes out an engineer as the first original hunter in the game. Huge from Petrich. That's going to deny a whole bunch of mass extractors for a little while. Tracy used no meat in the middle. Vortex, significant advantage on the. Actually, no, he kind of skipped his own reclaim. He's going to try to deny Petrich his own. Those civs, of course, got no mass, so pretty cosmetic. Don't need to spend much time worrying about those. And this is where Cybern, with their superior speed, can get a numbers advantage up on top, and that's exactly what Petrich is doing. Here we're seeing the 5th land factory. Actually, it looks like it's a 5th air from Vortex as well. 2 engineers in the land factory spam. Looks like 2 engineers on land spam as well. That's what both players have gone with so far. So the mechanics on this map are quite simple. It's all really about expansion, but the base production is very standard. And of course it comes down to micro in the field, and here could be a big mistake from Petrich. Going a little deep. Numbers advantage from Vor. This is where Cybern have to use their speed and run away, but a couple of really juicy reclaims for Vortex if you choose to get them. And here Manti with some reinforcements. They need to protect that top position. Some tanks sneaking in from Vor. Both players doing a good job denying the bottom part of the map. And the ACU from Vortex moving across. The position of the ACU is absolutely critical on this map. And this is where I think Petrich might have a better advantage, is running straight through the middle. And while Vor thinking about perhaps moving directly at Petrich's base, he does have some units in support. You see both ACUs walking away from each other. Can be doing as much damage as possible, but of course Petric has taken the top. He's going to get a wall going and a radar. There are some units in support to protect as an engineer, which means a significant advantage in terms of mass, given that denial has been so good from both players. Now Vortex unsure what to do. One thing that Petric has done in this game, completely isolated this ACU. This ACU has nothing to do with 5 kills, meanwhile 7 kills for Petric and putting pressure. And this will be very critical. Vortex can win this battle, although reinforcements for Petric. If Vortex could deny those mass extractors, that engineer really put him back into this game. On the bottom here, a nice raid would be nice. And Vortex now with the air. See if these bombers can turn the tide. And actually here point defense is going to be necessary. And given that Vortex did go air and only got a couple extra P-gens, Vortex here could be in a power disadvantage, and which means building point defense might be a little difficult. He's going to move back, and once you move back with the units like that, it means everywhere else in the field you're very vulnerable. Vortex 8 kills, did put some pressure, actually took out the Hydra, some point defenses from Petric, so both players putting a lot of pressures on each other's bases. Point defense going up. I think Petric was in a position to deny that. Instead, he'll just deny mass extractor. He needs to deny either the Hydra or these engineers. Looks like the point defense is successful. And air now for Petric as well. So both players at the 5th air. And very good denial from Petric. Petric is in a very good position now. He's held to the top. A whole bunch of reclaim. Is denied so much of the mass extractors on Vortex side. Looks like the bottom is very much secure for Petric. He needs to rebuild his Hydra, otherwise, I mean, it's not that big a deal that he lost it, because he did so much damage to Vortex as well. He's actually denied Vortex power or Hydra as well. Vortex will reunite with his units, but he's got absolutely nothing. He's got these mass extractors that he'll lose shortly. He's thinking about moving back here. That's really his only chance, perhaps, to pull a draw. Petric playing quite dangerously, very far. He needs to recognize that there's an ACU walking. Well, this ACU is very not sure about what he wants to do. He's been walking back and forth. Petric giving him big problems. Been playing this at 0 the whole time, and here Petric really in a big advantage at this point. He does not want to make the wrong move here at the end and throw it away. More land factories, more power for Petric. Both players recovering with power, but still significantly less for Vortex, because he's got significantly less power. It's such a weird situation. Petric between the ACU and his base. Now Vortex is going to move in with all of his forces, and I would not be surprised if this is a draw. Petric running away. I don't know if it's Petric or Petric. But here I think Petric will be able to, well, maybe he'll be able to get out of this position. There's a nice stream of units coming in from him, and his AC pretty much full health. Vortex, meanwhile, nearly half health, and doesn't really have a big stream of units, because he's got no mass to build them with. And now really with the eco, you can see Petric running away, and once he gets his ACU out of trouble, which looks like he has, and now the Cyber and the Manti doing a good job blocking the path, and of course just turn the corner and you're safe if you're Petric. And really this game's over, unless of course Petric control K's this ACU, but he won't do that. A nice little wall from Petric, and really no reason to have that. Might as well use it for attack. So this has become a 2 versus 1 T3 gunship snipe, which is not available to Seraphim. Is not going to save Vortex. Yep, you would not see that coming. You wouldn't see it. period. So now 2-1, we're going to see Rivers. Rivers and Thunder, two very big maps where Petric is going to have to win. If Vortex wins any of those, he is the new champion. Hello, welcome to Game 4 between Vortex and Petric. This one's on Rivers, and Vor going with UEF against Cyber. Just like on Open Palms, we saw the Cyber versus UEF battle. Interesting that Vor decided not to go with Seraphim. Of course, UEF much stronger in the Tech 3 stage with Percy, but Vortex, of course, has shown that he's pretty good with Seraphim ACU, so even at that late Tech 3 stage, support commanders, things like that. Always good ideas, but in this one he decided to go a little safer. Petric pretty aggressive with an early hunter. A river is a map, a whole bunch of mass here, very spread out. One thing that's it's so I think well done map that getting this mass in the middle is almost not critical. You can go for it or you don't have to. That's really what makes the map very good. But when in doubt, you really want to send some units in this area. You might not want to send your first engineer there, but after a few factories, definitely check on the middle. Of course, you also got to get these islands, at least one of them. Although if you really tech hard, you don't have to get them. So you can see second air, pretty standard from Petric, and that's one thing about this map. Second air is extremely common. We're actually seeing Vortex going second air as well. Because cutting out these expansions is so critical. You can do it quite well with air, plus you get the early intel. It's really this size of map that second air is a lot more powerful than just raiders. But we do see tanks. And this is that early engineer that wanted to get the free mass. And Vortex had the opportunity to cost Petric a lot of mass. Instead, these tanks just roll through. They're not stopping. It looks like they still will have a chance to do damage. And one thing about these, of course, is that they do more damage than the Mantis. So without micro, they will win. But this right here, an engineer, 25 health, getting free mass for Petric. The other engineer, though, here, 1 health, gets killed. Opportunity for micro here from both players, but this is just a killer tank here from Vor. 3 kills. Now he's got a bit of regen. I believe this is a 1-star tank. So 1 health per second. And of course, overall higher health, 330. Usually it's 300. Gives you an extra shot versus another tank. And a hunter here hidden behind has already got 1 kill. So both players doing very good rating. On the expansion front, looks like quite even actually. The side expansion successful for Vortex, but the back expansion successful for Petric. And now this is going to be another. Oh wow! They're going to fight in this mountain, and that tank didn't quite have enough, but 4 kills at the end. Now we're seeing the bombers from the second air factory. So most of that all came from the first air factory. This has been quite a good game. But let's see what this bomber can do for Petric. Petric, of course, has to win this. If Vor wins this, this is going to be his first O2000 title. And so far we've had Christ, Voodoo, Lucian, and Zoc. I've had quite a few challengers, and it'll be nice to see Vortex as the champion, although Petric, I don't think he's participated yet in the O2000. Vortex definitely been a good challenger for the past few weeks. Some nice micro on the Vortex, making the EF bomber look pretty good. And now looking at the mass extractors, quite a few more here in the back for Petric, at least 4 more. Which might translate into something good, and he's got better eco, and of course he did steal a bit of mass. And now this Vortex turn to grab the mass, but both players choosing to expand a little more than grabbing the mass in the middle. 2 ACUs are actually going to meet each other here. Petric going to get a point defense. Some walls from Petric. We're not seeing any drop. Actually, no drop here from Petric taking the top, but drop from Vortex taking the bottom. nearly simultaneous. That's quite nice to see. A little more power for Petrich, perhaps a little more air. And in terms of land, looks like it's just Tech 1 land, spam planned for Vor, and he's got to take care of these raids. These Manti raids doing a very good, excellent job for Petrich. Perhaps more drops. Looks like both players successful with their drops, and there's Bomber in the back now with 2 kills. Some Tech 2 max extractors for Petrich, and we're gonna see Tech 2 land from Petrich. Probably a little faster than for Vortex. And a nice raiding group here from Vortex as well. So both players doing the standard things on this map, going around the outside, bombers, drops, and here we're going to see a counter drop. Looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of Manti, and this is going to put Petrich in a position to take this island. I don't think there's much that can be done against that many Manti, but a counter drop perhaps from Vortex. Thought about it, but decided against it. Top no challenge. And here's Strikers versus Manti. This is where Strikers' just overall health are a little better than the Manti. But with numbers, the Manti can be in different places much faster. And now this is quite even, but this is successful, and actually a successful raid with those Manti all the way to the back. So many dead mask extractors for Vor. So Petrich really taking control of this game, but now a successful drop. This is nice. Slow this down. I'm missing some things. These Manti are excellent. They're just hidden here behind radar. And yeah, they're going to do damage. Absolutely nothing to defend with Vortex. Looks like he's going to lose his back again. That's unfortunate. But here, this is also some success, but some units here in the back to defend, but 4 versus 2. Some more units being sent to the back. Tech 2 air, or Tech 2 land. Some Tech 2 power. I'd like to love to see cruise missiles from this position. If you can have this, actually, okay, yeah. There it is, Petrich with cruise missiles. From this position you can hit most of these Tech 2s. From the back here you can't quite. This becomes a nice target for Vortex. And of course it's well protected from point defenses. It's a great positioning so far from Petrich, and he's playing extremely well. Yet another drop from Vortex. Trying to go around the side, going after the Hydra. Of course, once this Tech 2 power is finished, the Hydra shouldn't be that much of an issue. Although major power problems at this point, that losing the Hydra probably exacerbated that. Up on top, of probing run is going to be shut out. Petrich just needs to get some engineers here in the back. Although his air has been struggling a little bit, he's been letting all these drops go in. But he needs to take care of that. And what is going on here? Petrich facing a very large Tech 1 force. 36 tanks. So a rule of thumb is if you're facing less than 20 or less than 20 tanks, you can take it on with the AC. When you're facing 36 and you have no upgrades and the terrain is just flat, you're gonna die. So Vortex is the new O2000 champion, the 5th one we have. And Petrich played so well. It's been loving watching him play. This cruise missiles would have done a whole bunch of damage. Of course, EEF, we don't even have Tech 2 from Vortex. So if Petrich didn't die here, there's really nothing that the Vortex could have done to him. Eventually, Petrich would have won. But of course, with this game, which is so awesome, a simple mistake like this can leave you the game, and it also means that the other player always has a chance. So hopefully people enjoy this, and probably upload some more videos later.